With little money, lots of support, Kiwi ingenuity and good old blood, sweat and tears, we're creating a community expedition and research boat built and run by volunteers from around the world, because life is too short not to fight for your dream.
I took a stroll downtown this evening when I heard music echo through the night. The same old songs that I heard the night before. So I started running so I wouldn't be too late. I didn't think that I would ever see your face again, but I was wrong. Yeah, I was wrong.
In the last episode, you saw me build this template. Now we're going to rip it off, get it on some steel, and start getting the plates on Brupeg. Trev and I were having to think about this, and we figured that initially we thought we might have to unpick this so that it goes flat, but we realised that we could actually achieve the same thing by rolling the plate really gently like that when we're marking it all out. How difficult that's going to be, we're not 100% certain right now, but yeah, we'll mark it out and see how we go. I'm going to go big. You can always trim down. Right, I've gone through, cleaned up the two radiuses with the 5-inch disc and then just the flap wheel on the battery grinder. I've also put a 45 so that it's safe enough to work with so I don't chop myself up moving this around. I think this is bigger than the hole that we're putting it in, because when I was rolling that template I couldn't get it perfect. It sort of moved a wee bit, and I essentially cut this corner bigger than what I think it's going to be. So I'm assuming we're going to have to cut a wee bit off this corner, etc. when we get up on the boat. Let's get it up and see how good that fit was. Right, lifting it up, I'm going to use my chain block, which is a bit of a bulky thing, and I was thinking I'll fling it up there. You can see there's a shackle that I've hooked onto the stainless link that I welded on a while back to get this bulkhead in. I'll hook it back onto there and it'll kind of sit roughly in there, which is going to be a bit of a manky solution. If that doesn't work, I've got the chain link that's sort of higher up there on the stainless floor, just to get a bit more height. Either way, that's my plan. And then I'll weld something onto the other side. So this is the top here, this is the outside of the panel, and then I'll weld it onto the underside and hoik it up. But I just have to do a bit of thinking and measuring to make sure that I don't jam it all up, because I've got a lot of bars and stuff in here now that might get in the way. Okay, here's something that I didn't anticipate. That doesn't fit. I physically can't get it in amongst any of these gaps and holes and bumps that are left in there anymore. Like, I thought maybe I could get it up through there, but it doesn't fit in there. I can't get it through there, it's too big to go through that hole there. So yeah, alright, we're not using the chain block. So I've got some chain that I'll use to weld onto the plate. I moved it from my workbench there to my workbench there, and I've done a pretty strategic calculation of where I think the centre of mass is going to be. Oh, about there. Hey, we'll just glue it in here. Bit of thicker. Problem solved. Need to lower it down slightly. Actually, oh no, I was just going to say, might get you to lower it down, but it'll probably lift you up in the air.
We could try, as long as I'm out of the way.
It's higher than it needs to be right now. It's got to go down about an inch. Touch more. I'm wondering about hooking another one. 3, 2, 1, up. Okay, and I'll very gently ease it down in a sec. Okay, real slow.
But you look like you were lined up.
I was real close, yeah, it was real close. So long as I get this head in the 2 corners right, the rest of it should bend into place, I think. But yeah.
No, Damien is not offering Brupeg a drink, although maybe he should. He's just calling the weld gun so we can get the rope through.
Okay.
That works really well, then you'll be able to push it, won't you?
Yeah, I'll be able to shunt it back, forward and back.
Just learning how to drive.
You still struggle going up on the red one, don't you?
Yeah, I won't be able to lift that by myself.
Okay, I'll lift it if you take the slack out when we do it.
Yeah.
Alright.
Okay, so
Ready to have a go?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, I'll lift and we'll just get it higher to start with.
Yeah.
Okay, so ease it down. Let's do one at a time. Let's do the back first.
It's on that knob again.
How's that?
No, come right away. Yep, it's still on it. You have to come right out. Hang on, there it is. Ah, I see. It's the angle, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got your back. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, perfect. Front there.
Yeah. So the back one's got to come down.
Do you want to weld that front? And then
Yeah, I'm thinking I might just take the top radius. I need 3 hands.
Good. You're almost done today.
Yeah. When I push this back in, I've got like a 5-10 mil gap.
How about we go for coffee and come back?
Alright. Well, I've got to weld the top first, like the top edge first, because that's where all my alignment's done from. Okay,
I'll move halfway down?
Yeah, no, so I'll think I'll move the chain on the plate, I'll move a link, I'll weld a link back here, and then move this pulley to the back end, because at the moment this white and red rope is taking probably 95% of the weight, and that little green one's just doing a little bit of weight to steady it. Whereas if we put more weight on the green one and put less on the red one down the back here, I think we'll be able to fine tune it better. At the moment we're struggling with fine tuning basically.
You know, I wonder if we need to bother.
Yeah?
I really do, yeah. Can we just try it once more?
Okay, all right.
Because I wonder if we could just get it, you know, because you just got to get it into that corner on the right angle, right?
I know.
But the angle needs to be slightly tilted, right?
Yeah.
Because if you go flat to the corner, it's like that on the bottom there. So you've got to sort of tilt it so it sits up on the corner.
I need to get it like in the same angle as the hull.
So in a sense you need almost like something pulling it into the bottom.
Oh, you know what I could do? Oh, the same thing I've done on every other plate that I forgot about doing on this one, is weld a tag on the inside, so when you hook it in, it automatically I
think that'd be better, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Oh look, here's a tag I prepared earlier.
It's not something you hear every day. You've got to get your head back into doing dogging. You laughed and they laughed and the dog laughed and I died a little inside.
Love it. Actually, I'm wondering if it's easier with you, I know it sounds funny, but you on that stand, because it's not that hard to push and dangle it, and I'll do the grunt work.
It needs to kind of hold in there, doesn't it?
Yeah, I just need you to kind of make sure it doesn't jump out. Can you see this tag here?
Yeah.
That's got a hook in, so you might need to just pull the bottom of the thing out slightly when it gets close.
Yeah, I'm going to push pressure on the other one to see if I can hold it first.
Yeah.
See if you can manoeuvre from there.
Yeah.
You know, it's in the wrong position, I think, unless you can drop it down.
It's got to go back, hey?
Ah, that's great. Yep,
Can that go in there?
Yeah, that's straight in. Yep, you're right.
Can you just hold that and I'll lift it?
Just go up. Yep. Just go gentle. It's it. Yep. Okay, straight in there. You'll be right. Got it.
Can you hold the bottom out like that?
You've hit the back, Dave.
How's that?
Yeah, perfect.
Is that?
Yep. Slide back this way a bit.
Yeah. Okay, I'll grind away from everyone.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. Eyes. I'll do one that holds now. Okay, it's not going to fall now. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right, so that's where we're up to. You can see it's obviously, there's a small gap here that we need to probably just sicker up. What I've done, you see there's a tag just welded in the corner there that holds the plate level with the hull, and then there's another one just up there as well, welded into the plate itself. And they're kind of just like guides. So, okay, so if you come around here, like I've got the two tacks, one roughly where each of those pins are, so that plate there is sitting flush and sitting flush there. It's the angle's not right, we still need to work on the angle, but we're getting close to having it in position. I'm not convinced that we've got the gap right, but I don't think we're going to get it any different. Like this gap currently looks big. Like I can push that in.
All right.
And I've got like up to 5 mil of gap in places, which is not great.
What does the line look like at the back there?
It's hard to tell until I get it really dogged in. It could be miles off, but I really can't tell until it. I think we just go around and start dogging. I don't think, and then if it's wrong, we just take it off. I think what I'll do is I'll start in the middle because this edge is pretty good at the top. I think I'll start in the middle there, and then work to the very front corner, and then stop, and then work my way back down that side. Because this one here doesn't really matter. If this is up or down 5 or 10 mil, it really doesn't make any difference. It's the gap that is what matters. Because I'm trying to line it up by eye. It's quite hard to line.
I thought you had the template.
So I rolled it as I drew it. I rolled it on the steel to get the, because I knew it would grow.
Great. So it should be right.
It should be right. But
you're just nervous. I'm nervous.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just carry on and do it.
Yeah, as you were.
As you were.
Here's. My dog's
you
too...
need to stick a dog.
Yeah, my dog's too skinny.
Yeah. You need to make it out of 25 mil or something.
What?
Like Bruce has, you know, the
Yeah.
tricky ones.
I just haven't cut them, but I've got some steel that could do it.
Is that your dog?
It will be. Oh, fuck it. You know what? It is my dog.
Yeah, look at that. That's a perfect dog.
This is the dog I made earlier.
Don't let it drop on your toe. Or on your head. Hey, you think that's overkill?
No, I know exactly what I'm doing.
Oh yeah.
The corner is jamming up.
Do you need to take them off the corner?
Yeah. So the problem is in that corner.
Oh yeah, look at that.
You can see the plate's too big for the hole, basically, and it's jamming. So when I try and knock it in and get it flush over here, this plate won't pop out. So I need to get rid of this, just take a few mil maybe off that plate, and then repeat this whole thing again. I'll just take that off as well.
You really don't want to be under Damien when he's working with this sort of thing. No, you'd be killed 3 times over.
It's only 4 mil steel, so it's a bit thin.
Take some time and make
Yeah,
proper dogs, eh?
Oh, it's better, it's moving way better now. Ah, no, I still need to take a bit more off.
Yeah, like it's jamming up, eh?
Yeah, I'll just do that right now while it's in there. Oh, that's perfect now, it's going to go in.
Beautiful.
So when you're using dog and wedges like this, what you're trying to do is basically bend one plate to meet the other. So in this case, they're both 6 mil, so they're both as flexible as each other. However, this one's got a bulkhead welded to it about here, so this one won't move. This one will, because it's just a straight plate of 6 mil. It's relatively flexible. Normally you try and whack your dog in until you get it flush down in here and then you weld it. However, we've got a bit of a mismatch. This here is too high compared to this plate here, and then this plate is too high compared to the hull here. So halfway, roughly, where is it? About there somewhere, it's perfectly flush. So I'll run a bead up in there, probably about 10 centimetre long bead, so a bit stronger than a normal tack, and that'll hold that flush, and then I'll move the dog and wedge system and we'll get it up into this corner and we'll get that corner to be bang on. What I'm trying to do is use this corner and that radius at the top there and that straight edge as my sort of source of truth, and then everything else should theoretically align. But we'll just see how good I was at actually cutting this plate out when we get to there.
And with the camera pointing the other way, accidentally, Dane did get that corner in and flush. Now he's on to the next bit.
The hull is too far in, the plate is too far out. So you weld onto the low plate, whatever one it is, you weld onto the low side and you get your dog in. Just throw that in there. I'm going to try and do it so that you can actually see it coming out. take the small dog. In theory, those two should end up being flush. Almost. Right, so I'm ripping the dog off. Problem is this dog is too thin. Let's just get rid of it. I made a couple of modifications. I made another dog which is made out of 6mm, so it's not going to be so flimsy, and I made a slight adjustment, and now I'm using a piece of 20mm slab as my dog, mainly so that I can have like a flat base on it and it's not going to tip over, which is what was happening with the 3mm. Lovely! Oh yeah. Lovely. Okay, we're almost in. If you look along the keel there, you can sort of see there's maybe, I don't know, 120mm, something like that. What's that, 5 inches to go? There we go. So by the time we twang this in, how I'm going to do that exactly, I'm not sure yet, but there's not a huge amount of curve left, but it's starting to stiffen up because we're starting to get some curve that way as well as that way. There's probably only about 1 inch of curve along the length of that panel. It's probably only 1 inch of curve in that dimension, but we've probably got 5 inches in this dimension, so it will get stiffer and harder, but I probably won't be doing a lot like of we probably won't have to pull a lot in on this edge here, because it's practically all going to be that edge along there, those 3 edges that'll need the dogging, and then once we've done that, this edge will be pretty much bang on as it is. We might need a little bit of adjustment, but mostly it should be pretty fine. so I cut it a bit long. Looks like we've got a bit of overlap that I'm going to have to deal with. I don't know how much to take off, so I think I'll do small bits at a time. It doesn't take much to rip this down with the 9-inch grinder, so I'll just trim a bit off, see how it fits. If I don't take enough off, it's not going to sit up against those ribs at the bottom. I need to make sure that I get enough off to get it hard up against the ribs, but not so much that I end up with a great big gap down the bottom to deal with. So close. I think we will call that done. Okay, we are tacked all the way around, and then we've got quite a bit of a bead. Geez, there's some porosity in that. So most of this gets ground out anyway. That's disgusting porosity, that's got to go. But yeah, basically this edge will get V'd out a lot more so that I can get a real nice penetration weld into there all the way around. I've still got to obviously dog up this wee bit of a gap, but that's pretty easy. This is the hardest corner to do, and you saw that came in nice and tight. So exactly the same process. We just basically weld, various places along here and just pull that in. That'll all bend in nice. But I think I'll put a few more welds up in this area here before we do that, because that's going to be under a bit of tension when we start really cranking this part in. This corner up in here, there's obviously a lot of tension holding this hull bowed in like that. You can see I'm ripping the hull out with these small welds. So what I'll probably do is actually grind off quite a bit of paint, do a fairly chunky large weld like that with the new dog, and then pull this panel in to, well, I actually want to pull the hull out more than anything else, but yeah, it's sort of dimpled in quite the way up that way as well. So we're always going to be fighting that. It's never going to be perfect, but we'll try and make it as good as we can. But that's looking nice. I'm really happy with how that's come out so far. It's not real late, it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 2:30 or something like that. I have to stop. I have to get Snoop into the vet. He's having his first shot. There's a 4-weekly dose of something. It's something to help his joints. So first shot goes today. We'll see how he goes with that.
Because of the forces involved, the dog is not strong enough, so Dame's going to start again and throw some more welds on there.
So I'm having some real challenge with this one here. when I weld that on like that, a single bead is not enough to hold it. There's obviously quite a bit of pressure on this plate at this point. So we're going to nuke this one, give it maybe 3 beads, possibly 1 on either side, something like that, I don't know, but enough so that it's not going to fall off ever again in the history of the world. Alright, this is my best windy weather MIG. Let's see if it'll actually hold. I've got some dirt in there for lubrication when I start hitting this. Oh, you know what? Almost. And we're there. So everything seems to be fitting. This top edge here is quite nice. Everything's tacked up and flush. The front has come up pretty good. Happy with that. But there is a bulge. You can see here, this corner is essentially too big. So I need to cut down this edge here, cut along the bottom, shave out some of the porosity we've got in this weld here. So none of this is an issue really. Get rid of these welds and then sort of push that whole corner back down into this area here. I think the panel's too big, so we'll cut a bit off. But we'll have to start with unpicking all of these original welds that I put in. And that's just one of the issues when you can't size a panel perfectly before you put it up. Wouldn't have known any different until I put it up there really. But you can sort of see how it's coming up. I'm quite pleased. This plate, if you look up here, it's not actually a double bevel like we do on the rest of the plate. It's actually a straight cut, and then you can fill up like I have with this weld just above this one here. You can sort of see you can put in quite a bulk amount of weld when you're joining that up. You do a double bevel cut up the top, but you don't need to do that down here. The straight cut is quite beneficial in this area. If you go over that with a bit of speed, you'll bump over it. Do you want me to make some tiny little ramps?
Yeah, I do. I need you to make some ramps.
Here's a tiny ramp I prepared earlier.
I could probably do a run up.
You could easily get over that.
But I can't on the other side.
Oh, well, what? Yeah, but you didn't let me finish. I'm halfway through building your ramp. Try it.
Have you shown it on this angle?
Yeah.
That is amazing.
And I got some cool shots of camera right here while I was hitting it in.
Oh, it looks like material. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So we have a buckle here because someone didn't measure the plate perfectly accurate.
Oh, you did a really close job.
So I've got bulges in the wrong place.
That's pretty good though. Look at oh, lovely welds, darling.
Thanks.
Balanced.
Steady as she goes.
So I think we're probably seeing the same solution.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking this corner. You got the same corner?
Oh, we're going different way. I was going hull extension.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So whatever. What's your idea?
No, I think so what you'll just unpick like
Yeah,
it's sewing, like you unpick the sewing.
Wherever the last weld is, somewhere here, somewhere, wherever it is.
I think that's
I might chuck one in here because it's quite tight.
Yeah.
And then I'll just unpick everything from there down, like let this corner free again.
So will this ping out, or has this been bent long enough that it'll stay
ping out.
in?
No, it'll ping out. Yeah. It'll be an interesting cut because it'll be like bong bong, but I'll slice these guys here, and there's one on the inside just there on a rib.
Right.
So I'll slice these ones, and then I'll go in and do that one, and it'll go twang away from the grinder. Because if I do it on this side, it'll fire it at me.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's a shame. It's a nice weld.
Yeah, it's all good.
It's nice and warm in there now.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, so
cool.
There's a weld there on the inside, which is easy enough to take off.
Okay.
But I'll leave that one and that one, and I'll unpick all the outside. Yeah. I made a slightly bigger wedge.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. You need it, eh?
Yeah. I rolled the thing, it moved, and I couldn't get it perfect. So it's absolutely me transferring it that's the problem, I think.
You can only do what you can with the tools you've got and the time you've got. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Okay,
But the rest of it's coming up all right. Like, it's coming up nice.
Okay, so we've got.
So
You've got to be in there at 12, right?
Yeah, I might just go through and slice this now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then come up, eh?
Yeah.
And I'll go back up my little ramp.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Thank you for that. All right, sweetie. I'll see you in about half an hour, eh?
Yep. See you then. Earlier on I chucked a couple of welds just right in the ribs here just to hold this in while I was getting everything lined up and everything, so they've got to come off, and I left those to last because when I'm grinding from this side the plate pops away from me rather than it springing at me when I'm grinding. Right, 2 welds cut. It didn't pop out as much as I thought. It's still touching quite firm up over here. I actually thought it would pop out a lot more than that. So what's happening is basically, because I've bent it, it seems to be staying in that shape. There's nothing holding it, and I don't understand why this bottom corner isn't pinging out more, but I suspect if I give it a wedge in here and give it the herbs in this area here, it's probably going to start pinging out. We'll just have to try it and see. Now that that corner is free, there's nothing holding it to the boat. I can work my way down in small increments, firstly along the keel and then down the hull plate on the rear side of that panel.
So we're jam-packed again this week. We've done it again. What we're going to do is leave Dame to finish solving this bulge. 6mm metal bulging, amazing, looks awesome.
So I want to talk to you about the 2 different types of welding that I've been yabbering on about, vertical up, vertical down, and why we use them in different instances. So I'm going to join these 2 plates together, I'm going to slice them in half, and we're going to look at the penetration that you get from each, but I'll also show the exact techniques that I use to achieve each type of weld. Alright, so I've cut a 35-degree angle on each piece of plate, so overall that's, what, 70 degrees in terms of angle, I believe. On the back, it's practically flush, there's virtually nothing on the back. So these are 6mm deep, this is a 6mm plate, and they go all the way through on the same angle. So I'll run a vertical down and a vertical up, and we'll be able to see the difference in how the 2 welds end up. The settings for vertical up that I use is 19 volts and 8. I don't know what the wire feed is. 8 amps is what it shows on my gauge, but it's not amps, it's wire feed. So I can only assume what the measure is. I'm going to guess 8 umlauts per megahertz. Alright, vertical up. So left, pause, skim over the top, pause on the right, come across, and we're doing those Christmas trees the whole way up.
You know when you tell yourself not to do something and you do it anyway? Don't pause in the middle. Don't pause in the middle. Don't pause in the middle. Okay, let's try that again. Because the plate is 6mm thick and the bevel or 35-degree angle goes all the way through from one side to the other of the plate, Dame needed to spend a wee bit of time in the centre to deposit in a filler metal. Dame's got the Christmas tree formation going on here. From the left up to the middle, slightly above, down to the right, pause slightly, cross to the left, head straight back up to the top, down to the right. Beautiful.
Right, vertical down, I'm going to use spray transfer. So spray transfer is where this filler wire here doesn't actually touch the metal, it vaporizes before it gets to the metal and it sprays the metal out onto the joint. In order to do the cut and polish to figure out if this is a good weld or a bad weld, I use 3 different flap wheels. So I've got just a 60 grit flapper, zirconium flapper, and then I go down to these 3M, I don't know what you call them, Scotch-Brite type pads. Basically there's no grit on them, but one of them is medium and one of them is fine. So obviously start at the medium, work down to the fine, and that's enough to polish it so that you can etch it and then check, have you got a good weld or not. One etch cut is worth 1,000 opinions.
So for Dame to do an etch test, he's using a 60 grit flapper disc first. Next, a medium Scotch-Brite pad. And lastly, a fine Scotch-Brite pad.
So this test is basically called an etch test, and it's really easy to see how much weld you're actually getting in your material. We just use, this is actually rust kill that I use, nothing fancy, it just has to be an acid. Stronger acids work faster, rust kill takes a few minutes. You just want to basically get it to soak in. It takes a couple of minutes of basically just rubbing this stuff on to actually get it to soak in to see how much weld you've got, and the weld will start to discolour. You can sort of see it starting to come up now. There we go. You can see the profile of the weld quite well there. Alright, that's enough for us to be able to determine how good it was. So we'll just clean that acid off, get a better view of the whole situation. Alright, so we started off with a V that was basically coming down on this sort of angle here. And you can see this weld here comes right out and sort of down. There's quite a lot of fusion out off to the side, and then it digs in out over here like that. Excuse my wobbly hand. But you can sort of see there's basically fusion all the way through right to the root, and then you've got this bulbous piece of metal as well. So there's a lot of metal deposited in here, as well as having fused into the parent metal, and it's pushed the parent metal out sideways either side. So it's really opened that parent metal up to fuse in. Conversely, if you have a look at this guy here, it virtually hasn't touched the angle that we cut, so it hasn't fused, it hasn't got hot enough. Even though I had the volts at 25 volts when I did this versus 19, it's just the amount of time that I spent on each part of this material. I'm moving too fast because I'm chasing that puddle down, whereas with this one here I'm pushing the puddle up. I get to spend a lot longer on it and therefore fuse the material in. So this one here, you've basically got no fusion up this edge here, and you've got practically no fusion up this edge here. There's just, and you can tell if you put a straight line across the weld like that, fusion would show as a big dip behind the line, whereas on this one here the line is about there and the fusion is coming out to here. Same on this side here, the line was about there and the fusion was coming out to over here. So it's just because I'm able to spend so much longer per millimeter of travel, you end up with a lot more fusion. This one here, you're just moving way too fast. Even though you have your temperature much hotter, you just don't get the fusion, and it hasn't even penetrated out the back, even though there was literally nothing stopping it from coming out the back. There was, you know, it was a full cut all the way through that 6mm plate. That's why we use vertical up whenever we want a structural weld. It doesn't necessarily have to look good, but absolutely has to be strong and last, and vertical down when we want a really pretty weld that doesn't really need any strength.